Hi guys, how to choose the best beginner's Lenormand for you.
Let's go.
Let's say one thing clearly. There are enough Lenormand decks in the world for everybody to have their own and love it so much. It is important that you enjoy the deck that you have. It's important that you see the cards and can learn with them. Sometimes if we are put off by imagery that we don't personally like, that can affect our reads if we are a beginner and not on the full symbol wavelength. There are different ways to read the Lenormand cards depending on who you learn with. And if you can only buy one deck, afford one deck, then this will help you go through the motions of deciding which one to choose. Tip 1. 36 cards. The Lenormand deck has 36 cards. That's the standard cards in a Petit Lenormand deck. If you see a deck that has more cards, when you are reading, or when you are beginning to read, take out the extra cards. Choose a deck that either starts with 36 cards or remove any cards above number 36. So if you come to find a number 37, take it out for now until you've learned the Lenormand system and the symbolic reading. 2. Choose a deck with clear symbols. Leave you to think about that for a moment. Have a look at your Lenormand deck, or the ones that you're deciding to buy, and make sure that you can tell what symbols are on there. This is the Rider Lenormand, and it is one of my favorite decks for pure symbols. My kids use this. This is Lloyd's deck, actually. And if we look through, we can see that the symbols are very clear what they are. Choose a deck with great symbols. Tip 3. No added extras. When you are first learning the symbols of Lenormand, it helps to have a deck that is the pure symbol itself. So if, for example, you want a deck with a bear on the bear card, so if you see a bear card that happens to be holding an anchor, for example, or happens to be holding a bouquet of flowers, leave that for the beginning. Choose a deck that has the pure symbols on there and that won't put you off. The moon card will have a moon on it, and they won't have too many added extras that take away from that symbol of the moon. That was tip 3. No added extras. Tip 4, playing card symbols. They might not seem important at first, but somewhere along the line, someone's going to say, have you tried adding colours? Have you tried adding the playing cards? And if you've bought your first Lenormand deck and you aren't buying any others, and you don't have the playing cards on that deck, you'll be disappointed and you'll be buying another one just to try it out and see if it works for you. This is one of my favorite Lenormand decks for the playing cards because they're very clear. This is the East German Lenormand, DDR Lenormand. And as you'll see, they have the number, they have the playing card, and they have the symbol. And that's perfect for a first-time reader. That's exactly the information you need on a Lenormand card. The Maybe Lenormand is also a very good one for the playing cards. You can see them very clearly, and obviously the Game of Hope Lenormand, Lenormand. It's also called in English Primal Lenormand. If you want to Google those, I'll put them in the links. The Primal Lenormand, I will put in the links because that's really going back to grassroots. It's really going back to the symbols as they looked, and also has the playing cards on very clearly. Tip 5. This may be controversial for some readers. Tip 5, and the final tip, always on your first deck, make sure that the man and the lady cards can face one another. You can hear the controversy coming through and wafting me. The reason I say this is similar to the playing cards. At some stage of your Lenormand reading, somebody will say to you, do your cards face one another? And that's a directional read. Not all Lenormand readers read that way. It's very popular here in Germany. And if you start with the right deck at first, then you have all these things covered. So when somebody does come in left field and say, which way is that facing? You have it, and you can learn directionality if you want to, and if it suits you. So let's have a look at this is a good example, the Rana George Lenormand. Again, I'll put the links below. We have a very clear looking partner here. We have a man who can look onto the woman and a woman who can look onto the man. That might seem strange to you now. I would put money on somebody speaking about directionality with you at some stage of your Lenormand learning. Why not have a deck to start with that covers it for that very eventuality? Some decks, they look forward. Some decks, the man and the woman face in the same direction, so they're both looking in the same direction. Just keep your doors open and choose one. If you only have one to buy, if you have lots to buy, then buy them all. Every single one. Every single Lenormand deck out there has its merits. I will never poo-poo a Lenormand deck because they all have their own merits in different ways. And my final, I didn't say 6 because there are 5 tips, but my final advice to you is choose a deck that you find attractive. We all have different decks we like. We all have different imagery we like. We all have different artists that we like. The important thing is that you find one that works for you. These 5 tips are for your start. After that, go wild. Just learn your symbols with an easy to read deck. Keep your eventualities open for other styles of reading. And of course, choose something you like. One of my favorite decks, just from the way it looks, is the Pixies Astounding Lenormand. Again, I'll put the links below. Many of these decks are US games that you'll see out here. I like the imagery in this. I like the colors. And that's what I like about this personal Lenormand deck, is I like the colors of the Pixies. It's not the deck that I always use because I have a few, but it is a deck that I will return to often, especially when I'm taking photos for Instagram and things like that, because it's got very vibrant colors, hues, colors that I appreciate. I hope that helps. Write in the comments what Lenormand deck is your favorite, which one you choose for your first ever Lenormand deck, and if you could only have one ever, if I had to take all of these away and only live with one Lenormand deck, what would you choose? I'll put mine in the comments. Thank you. Have a fabulous day. Bye.